The Stormforce Games merch store is now open. Come browse the latest and greatest merchandise that Streamlabs has to offer, from t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, hats, and more, all with your favorite Stormforce Games logos and branding. All Stormforce Games merch is priced to sell, with most items priced so low, you can't beat it. Come check out the Stormforce Games merch store on Streamlabs. You're watching Stormforce Games, live streaming 3 nights a week at twitch.tv/StormforceGames. Next on Stormforce Games, it's Farming Simulator 22. Stormforce Games starts right now. Good evening, everyone. 8:06 p.m. on the 9th of June, 2022. How y'all doing out there? Welcome to the show. I'm TV Guy Jay. This is Stormforce Games. We're doing what we do. We're farming tonight, playing FS22 and continuing to work on our new Goldcrest Valley farm. I have been playing a little bit offline, and I've had some technical issues that I will explain here as we get started. So I don't know what happened, but I do know when it happened. I just don't know how to fix it. And the problem is that at some point in the last couple days, I went to launch FS22 and it wouldn't launch. The little program box would show up on the taskbar, and it would say Farming Simulator 22 or whatever, but it would just disappear, and nothing would show up on the screen other than on the taskbar. No error message, nothing logged, nothing like that. So I was a little confused, and I started looking into this on online and found that Apparently, if you switch the game renderer from DirectX 12 to DirectX 11, it sometimes fixes this problem. And so I changed the renderer following their instructions. I've changed the renderer to changed the renderer for FS22 to DirectX 11 from DirectX 12, and it launched. Now, the game doesn't run as well in DX11 as it does in 12. However, it runs, and that's all I can ask for. So we have the game running. We're going to play it, and I'm a little frustrated because I can't find any support on this issue. I can't find anything that has gone wrong. I've been running this game since it came out on DX12. And then suddenly, one night, I shut my computer. I finished playing, I shut my computer down, went to bed, and the next day when I came down to play, it just was broken. And the weird thing about it was the computer was off, so it's not like something happened while I was asleep. Like, the computer was powered off. So, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I tried reinstalling the game. I tried doing all sorts of different troubleshooting things that I can think of, and can't get it to run on DX12 anymore. So, I don't know. Maybe this is a known issue that just hasn't made it to the search engines yet, but it is a little frustrating. Right now, I am running at 60 frames per second, which is nice, but as we start to go along, you will see that it will drop down to like 30 frames per second, and then eventually it will drop down lower than that, and that's when we have to just close and relaunch the game. But as far as stuff that we've done, or stuff that I've done while we've been away, I have acquired some more equipment. I have also acquired, if you notice over there, a greenhouse. That was one of the last things I did last night before I stopped playing for the evening. Or I should say early this morning, as I finally invested in a greenhouse. And it's a large greenhouse. It's one of the large vanilla greenhouses. So this is going to produce for us tomatoes, lettuce, and strawberries, various produce. And it is currently filled up with just under 20,000 liters of water, and it is producing. So hopefully this will incorporate some additional income into the farm, because as you can see, I have only about $1,700 in my bank account. Now, what I have done as well is we have gone through a harvest cycle. I kind of messed some stuff up with the farm. I was attempting to do some stuff and ended up breaking the 3 fields that I have. They weren't progressing in growth anymore, so I had to use some development tools to actually force those into harvest mode, harvested them, and then ended up restoring them back to a growing state. So they've all been planted, and so that we're back to where we left off, give or take. I've also, during that process, I've also reset the money, because I ended up using that income from the harvest. That was income that shouldn't have happened. So I reset I reset my bank account to be what it should be at. So this is still a legitimate attempt at not using cheats to progress in the game. That being said, I've been hard at work mowing grass and selling grass for income. We have 3 fields planted, and I even plowed in a 4th field here that I now own. This is using land that we reclaimed from the bushes and trees. So this is an unnumbered field, but it's currently growing wheat along with the other 3 fields, because it is wheat growing season, or wheat planting season. I may also incorporate a short or a small field in this little parcel of grass here. I haven't decided yet, because it is cheaper for me to plow in fields, new fields, on land that I already own, as opposed to trying to purchase land right now. But that that'll be a bridge we'll cross later. I may do something here or over here. I'm not sure yet. We've also removed a lot more trees. You can see over by the barn over there, all the trees that line that area are gone. The trees around the house are gone, as well as all the trees up here in this area. They're all gone. So what I did was I got rid of all the trees. I cut down all the trees, chipped them into wood chippings, wood chips, and then sold those for income as well. So we're using the material that we're harvesting from our land to bring us income. Most of that right now is from the grass, but we will have harvestable income here shortly. I don't have soil analysis on this new field that I planted in because we were leasing that Gator and that Scout unit for soil analysis. I don't have the money right now to lease those items again because all the income that came from the wood chips and the grass I spent to pay off our $60,000 loan that we had. And I, in fact, needed to reclaim a $5,000 loan in order to install the greenhouse and the hydrant for the greenhouse. There is a small hydrant over there by the house that I'm using to fill up for water, and that is costing us money every time we use that. It's about $208 to fill this little tanker that we are leasing right now, I believe. Or did I purchase this? No, we purchased the tanker. I'm leasing the roller. So we have a tanker available, a small tanker, but a tanker nonetheless, to be able to transport water to our greenhouse here. Diabolical Diabetic, how you doing? How you doing? Welcome in. So yeah, anyway, the last order of business that I did last night before I ended was just filling up this greenhouse and finishing the planting of the field up here. I do believe I still need to roll that field. I need to double check on that. Oh, actually, I haven't finished planting that field. I take that back. So we'll set this guy in motion, and then we'll set this guy in motion as well. Now, rolling is supposed to increase yield by a percentage. Ultimately, I haven't performed any sort of scientific experimentation to see whether or not that's true and exactly what that increase in yield might be. But I'm going through the processes here, trying to do things the right way, just to see how it goes. So we're planting, we're plowing, we're removing rocks and cultivating, then we're planting, then we're rolling, and then we're letting it grow. Thankfully, the plowing only needs to be done, I think, every third cycle, every third crop cycle. The rolling, unfortunately, needs to be done every time you plant, and that's a little annoying because it does take a long time to do this, even though the implements are pretty large. My fields are small, so it doesn't take me a huge amount of time right now. But as we get into larger fields eventually, especially like field 20 over here, field 5 is the largest field on the map, and a lot of these other fields, field 1, they're all very, very large compared to these little tiny fields that I have right here, 14, 15, 12, and this unnumbered strip right here. My next goal is to purchase field 19 and then eventually expand down to 22, 23, and 24. But those do cost money. I did purchase this plot of land over here because I don't know if it was a bug in the map creation process, but it was valued at $0. So I was like, why not? I'll buy it. I can at least mow the grass over here. But field 19 is a just over $35,000 field. So I need to get some money back in the bank in order to do that. And then field 24 is a $62,000 field, roughly. Then we have 23, which is $129,000 and change, and 22, which is $175,000. Plus the land that surrounds them is another $454,000. And that land is important because not only does it neighbor our existing land, but it would allow us additional income from mowing grass and other things as well. The other thing I want to do is purchase these 2 plots of land here, which are both over $500,000, because the way that the lines are drawn on the map, part of my property actually extends into these parcels. So owning these 2 parcels of land would be helpful, especially if I want to expand back out into fields 11 and 18 like I did in FS17. Out in FS17, I actually owned, I want to say, everything from 11 over to 20 and down to 26. So basically this whole area here, excluding 13 and 31, I owned. So it's quite a process, and hopefully I'll be making progress in that. I may utilize loans, bank loans, to purchase smaller plots of land, and my reasoning behind that is because the more fields I have, the more I can grow, which means the more income I can potentially make. As you can see, our money is quickly running out. I'm less than $1,000 left in the bank now, and that's because I'm using helpers to do a lot of this work. I probably shouldn't if I were being frugal, but I'm not exactly known for my frugality. So I have a stinking suspicion that another bank loan will be coming here shortly. I also need to be concerned about vehicle maintenance and fuel, because I have not had to maintain nor fuel these vehicles yet. And I know that this red tractor, for instance, is getting pretty low on fuel because I've been using it a lot. You can see it's got 122 kilometers on the odometer right now, compared to the 12 kilometers on the harvester, 73 kilometers on the Class, and 98 kilometers on the John Deere. Obviously, I've been putting these tractors to work. So this roller is going to stop after this pass. I'm going to stop it so that I can allow the planter, the seeder, to finish up the last few passes that he has. And then I'm going to see if I'm able to mow the grass again, because that's right now, while I'm waiting for my crops to become harvestable, mowing the grass and selling it is my only income right now. I'm hoping that the greenhouse will change that and allow me some more gradual income, but that takes time. You know, that's not an instant thing, so. The other option I could do is potentially taking out a loan and building some solar panels, or even some, all right, we're gonna stop him there. Solar panels or wind turbines, but that's a huge initial expense. So we'll have to see how that goes. Because I know right now, if I were to build, say, like solar panels, they're about $94,000 each. Now they generate about $9,000 a month, but that takes a long time for you to recoup that money. They have a cell antenna that costs $1,000, brings in $480 a month. I believe I already have one of these on my land, but I'm not sure. Now, I also have the subsidies. I'm trying to stay away from these because these are kind of like cheats. The government subsidy is $8.4 million a month. That's way too much for a small farm like mine. But a municipal subsidy brings in $8,400 a month. That's on par with the large solar panel here. So could that be a possibility? Maybe if we get into really bad situation, maybe. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know how I want to do that. If we go to our cash flow screen here, we can see that I want to say I do have a cellular tower put on my property because it's over there on the other side of my house. If you can just barely see it, we'll walk over there. But it doesn't look like I'm getting any income from that, so I don't know exactly what is going on with that. I don't know if that's just a map decoration. See right here. It's definitely a cell tower. But it's not generating me any income, which means I'd love to be able to climb that ladder. Which means I don't want it here if it's not going to give me any income, you know what I mean? But the thing is, I don't know how to get rid of it. I don't know if I can get rid of it, you know what I mean? There's my little guy down there, that's pretty cool. Demolish. Can I demolish this? See, I can't demolish it because I believe it's part of the map. I can demolish the chicken coop. I can't demolish the farmhouse. But the shed I could if I wanted to. Oh, apparently there's floating deer here. See that? It's kind of neat. I can't sell the barn or that shed. But yeah, there's a bunch of other things that I can demolish. So, but this must be part of the map. It must be built into the map, which means I could probably take it out in Giant's Editor. But I don't want to go into the editor right now. So, cell antenna, it's a low cost. It's funny because it's identical to the model that is already here. But for whatever reason, I can't, it won't let me demolish this one. So I don't know. But yeah, the municipal subsidy, I think I may end up having to do that depending on how bad our loan situation gets. I also want to start getting into basic animal care, whether it be chickens or sheep, something like that. But I also need to be able to have, you know, material for them. With chickens, it's going to be wheat. With sheep, it's going to be grass and other things. I forget exactly what sheep need for stuff. Let's take a look. All right, so for cow, oh, we'll go the other way here. So, beehives. I forgot about beehives as well. I could possibly do beehives. But again, all this requires some capital to get started. So chickens need wheat, barley, and sorghum. They produce eggs. And then we can sell those eggs. That's kind of a slow process, though, but it's a process that's always going. Sheep only need grass and hay in addition to water. They produce wool, and obviously we can transport that to a spinnery or a production point. Pigs will eat just about anything: corn, wheat, barley, canola, sunflower, soybeans, potatoes, sorghum, and sugar beets. They produce manure and slurry, which is good because we need that fertilizer for the fields. Horses. Horses are kind of like a dead end sort of thing for me because it requires a lot of work. Like, you have to ride them for a good amount of time every game day, and you don't know how well their fitness is going to turn out after all of that. Basically, the whole point is just to buy them, feed them, get them fit, and then sell them and reap the profits. But my understanding is the profits aren't very high for something like that. Really, the best I think the best return on investment is got to be the cows. But at the same time, cows require probably the most amount of work out of any of them because they require so much different types of food, plus the mixing of the TMR. And they produce a lot of byproducts which are useful for your farm, but it takes them about a year to start producing milk. So if you're going to do a dairy sort of thing, which is basically the whole point of doing cows, it takes a while to get started, you know? So I think we'll probably start with beehives, chickens, and sheep. But again, I need to have wheat and grass. Grass and hay is not a problem. I can make grass and hay no problem. The wheat we're growing right now. The bees don't really require anything. I also didn't know bees will increase the yield of canola, sunflower, and potato fields, so that's pretty cool. So we'll have to look into that. But anyway, all of that requires capital investment. So if I were to purchase, beehives, let's see, animals. Here we go. Bees. Boom. So we do have the small beehives. We have the larger beehives. We have the super large ones. And then we have the honey pallet location, which we'd probably put like out front here or something. So I could start with something basic, but I mean, why start basic when I can go big, you know? So, but we also have the chickens. Now, I don't need to build chicken enclosures or any animal enclosures because the map already comes with those pre-built. They're just not all in the same location. They're spread out all over the map. So chickens are right here on the home farm. Sheep are over here near field 11. Pigs are up here by field 7. Horse paddock is up here by between fields 3 and 4. And then the cows are way down here in the middle of the city, over near 27 in the shop. So it's quite a spread. It's not like my farm in FS 19, Great Plains map, when I first started that, had all the animal locations right together. But I think the next thing, now that I remembered about beehives, I think the next thing for me will be putting some beehives down. Now, I'm wondering if beehives will only produce honey next to canola, sunflower, and potato fields. I'd have to... check. But we want to have multiple different ways of having income constantly coming into the farm. We can't just wait for harvest season to come around because the farm needs to be able to sustain itself year round. So the farm offsets the lack of income from the seasonal harvest by producing other products like honey and milk and animal products and all that other stuff. So it's all very important. That's right. Bees are now considered a fish in the state of California. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me how. This is the world we're living in, folks. You know, people used to say, well, when pigs fly, well, that's becoming more and more likely now because we can identify a pig as an airplane. That's right. Instead of a Boeing 747, it's now a Bacon 747. All right. So we will turn this guy around, and because the line of delineation here is very difficult to figure out, let's see if I can get this as close as I possibly can to reduce the amount of waste. None of my tractors have GPS. So I'm having to line this all up by hand. All right. Happen to have a sandwich here that I'm going to be munching on. Because I am hungry. There's just a tiny little bit here that I couldn't get. Hungo. Well, there is part of a sandwich still in the refrigerator. I'm more thirsty than anything else. My throat's really dry. No, I'm not taking a shot today. No. Denied. I need to get rid of that. There's nuggies in the fridge. Well, that doesn't help my thirst. I can't drink chicken nuggets. I am refunding your take a shot points back to you because I am not doing that. Old Seagrams? Actually, that sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. What is this guy doing? I really don't know what he's doing right now. I'm very confused. Alright, now he says he's complete.
Yeah, bitch!
Yep. That's another thing I gotta get rid of. Tell you what. Alright. So we're done with the roller for right now. So I think what I'm going to do is return that roller. Because I don't want to keep paying the lease for it. Ah, yes. The Arnold... that's one thing I forgot. The Arnold sound effects are for subscribers only. So... sucks to be you. Even though you're a moderator. No, that command has always been for subscribers. That was one of the perks for becoming a subscriber, was to have access to the Arnold soundboards. I haven't done any settings changes in Nightbot for like 4 years. Because quite honestly, I forgot that I even had Nightbot. I have to have some sort of motivating factor for people to subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean? I just watch. I mean, I watch myself all the time. Sandwich is actually pretty good. Thank you for the sub. Although I gotta say, really, it was me that subbed to the channel. It was me that subbed to my own channel because so Diabolical Diabetic and I are in the same Apple family account, and
cookies,
because of this, it shares my credit card for purchases. So when she subs to my channel through her phone, it actually charges my credit card for it. So really, it should say Stormforce Games has subscribed to Stormforce Games. So really, I just gifted a sub to Diabolical Diabetic. Thanks, Stormforce Games, for your channel support. I really appreciate you, my dude. Thanks for the support. It's also way more expensive to sub on mobile devices than it is to sub from a PC, and I'll tell you why. Most people don't know this, but if you sub to a Twitch channel from a computer, that sub, I believe, costs you $4.99. If you sub from a mobile device, it costs you $5.99 because Apple takes their cut of the sale for their own purposes. So in order for the Twitch affiliate or partner content creator to get their cut and not have it knocked down, they increase the price of the subs on mobile devices, which is kind of crappy, but at the same time, at least the content creator is still getting the same amount. It's not being reduced due to the fact that Apple is taking part of that. So just be aware of that. If you sub from a mobile device, if you sub from your iPhone or your iPad, whatever, to a Twitch streamer, it's going to cost you more money than it would if you were to do it from a PC. So always sub from your PC. I was in the process of telling Diabolical Diabetic this, but she was too fast for me. And she spent my money anyway. This is typically how it happens. She tells me she wants something, and I buy it for her. Not because I want to, but because she takes the money from me. Was that song Take the Money and Run? She hasn't ran yet, so I guess I got that going for me. I'll be pretty upset when she does. She just sent me $5 on Apple Pay, even though it was $5.99. She's adorable. She tries. She tries. It always ends up backfiring on her, but she tries anyway. Got to admire the effort. Alright, I'm just cleaning things up right now. I'm probably going to try to mow some more if the grass is harvestable. She booped me the money. Can't run, got a nose hose. Yeah, that's, she just sent me another $1. Jeez. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. All right. Well, now I've got money in my Apple Cash account, which is nice. I can use it to get myself a, 1 teaspoon of gasoline at the gas station. Alright, what are we doing here? What the hell are we doing here? I need to find out. Can I mow grass? And where the hell is my mower? Mower's over there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take the front loader off of this tractor and put it away. And we'll connect up to the mowing deck here. I don't know if the grass out here that I've already mowed is ready to be mowed again. But we'll do a little test and see. It is ready to be mowed. I don't think it's at full height, which means I probably won't get full yield. But let's do some mowing so that we can get some money in the bank, because we don't want to run out of money. And this is something that I can do by hand, manually driving. which means that I don't have to have a helper do it and have that expense. It does take a great deal of time to do this, but the more I mow, the more money I make. So, in reality, it's kind of a helpful thing. $5K in 3 days. That's awesome. That is really cool. I would love to be able to do something on this channel to be able to help him. The only problem is I don't have any viewers, so I can't solicit donations from viewers that I don't have, even if it's for an amazing cause. Which makes me a little bit sad, but at the same time, you know, it's one of those things. All right, let's see. I'm actually going to do this small strip first here. I know. I know. Cancer always takes the good ones. You know, the good people end up getting taken by it, and the people that, you know, aren't as fantastic usually get left behind, and it's just unfair. It's an unfair situation. Cancer is indiscriminate like that, and it doesn't care, and it doesn't have a heart, and it just sucks. Well, sometimes people get lucky and they beat it, but, you know, still, the amount of good people on this earth that have been taken by that is just disproportionately unfair. Because there are a bunch of people that I can name right now that probably don't deserve to be around, and yet they are. And there are a bunch of people that I can name that should be here and aren't. You know? Hitler's a great example of that. You know? He didn't get the big C and lose that battle. Nope. No, that's too bad. I'm making a lot of gross noises because I still have my after effects from COVID. So pardon me with all the throat clearing and coughing and crap. I still haven't tested to see if I'm negative. I highly doubt I am. I do believe what I have would be considered long COVID, but I don't have any health insurance to be able to get treatment. Another thing that's wrong with the world is the lack of available health care in the United States for people that, you know, don't have the money to afford either private insurance or have the fortune to have employer provided insurance, or like me are in one of those weird limbo periods where I just started a new job and my insurance doesn't take effect for 60 or 90 days, you know? Yeah, you were making some interesting noises. So, what we're referring to anyone that might be watching, Diabolical Diabetic had a medical procedure this morning in which a tube was run up her nose and down her throat and into her stomach, which is where it remains to this moment, in order to measure the amount of acid in her stomach and in her esophagus. Well, inserting that tube was quite the spectacle. Quite the spectacle. Two tubes, that's right. A big tube, and then they took it out and put a little tube in. The little tube is what she got to take home with her. And, yeah, the noises that she made were very interesting. Very interesting noises. I would consider them barnyard noises, animal noises. You know? I don't know if you've ever heard of donkey. It was kind of like that. A mix between a donkey and a pig. And then maybe a little bit of a baby sloth at the end. So it's pretty cool. But also made me want to throw up. You know, because they were just those awful noises, you know? Alright. We have ourselves some mowed grass here. We have a lot less available grass now that I plowed that field in here. But that's okay. Yeah, see, I think that's something that should also be illegal is this friend of mine, this former coworker and friend of mine that now has, unfortunately, stage 4 brain cancer, lost his job because of his condition. He's not able to work. And because of that, he ended up losing his medical insurance. So therefore, he can't pay for medical procedures. He can't pay to support his family, you know, to keep his family going. This poor guy is likely on the brink of death based on his condition, which is very sad. And at the same time, to add insult to injury, he's now without health insurance because he's unable to work. And I think that should be absolutely illegal and outlawed in this country. You know, it's funny. This country is so fascinated with banning all kinds of things, okay? They want to ban guns, and they want to ban big drinks in New York City, and they want to ban MSG, and they want to ban all these things that are bad for us, right? Or that they want us to think are bad for us. But they don't want to ban anything that has a detrimental effect to our quality of life, like, you know, the fact that our fucked up health services in this country are just that. Are just that. They're fucked up. You can't make this shit up. Okay? Somebody gets sick with a terminal illness and they're unable to work for the rest of whatever time they have left. So let's take their health insurance away from them and speed up the process, right? It's bullshit. And because of that, every single politician in the country today should be hung out to dry, fired from their jobs, and made a global spectacle. You know, we want to talk about guns. We want to talk about the problem with our health in this country, like our lack of health, you know, eating junk food and all this crap. We want to talk about all this stuff, right? Nobody's talking about homelessness. Nobody's talking about healthcare. Nobody's talking about mental health services. Nobody's talking about any of this shit, right? We're all talking about the stuff that brings in ratings on television, ratings on the news programs. We want to talk about let's ban guns. We want to talk about let's ban big gulps from New York City because somebody might just have a bit too much sugar. Give me a fucking break, okay? Give me a fucking break. This is why the United States is the laughing stock of the world, okay? Because we would rather focus on putting all of our political might and all of our political power and all of our political people on focusing on problems like guns. instead of focusing on problems like, hey, if somebody gets cancer, which they have no control over whatsoever, let's take everything else away from them too. Because that's going to make their last few months on Earth enjoyable, knowing that they're going to leave their family a huge financial burden, knowing that they're not going to be able to enjoy whatever time they have left because they don't know when they're going to pass. They don't know how they're going to keep the lights on. They're not going to know how they're going to be able to keep a roof over their head or feed their children because they can't work and get health insurance. This is what's wrong with the world. I'm sorry, not the world. I misspoke. This is what's wrong with the United States. No other country in the world has this problem, okay? Because every other industrialized nation in the country, to my knowledge, has socialized healthcare. Healthcare for everybody. It's just part of the way of life for these countries. And people in the United States act like this is going to break the country. They act like this is the worst thing that we could possibly implement in this country. Too many children are dying in school because they get shot. Too many people are being shot on the streets. How many people die every year from guns versus cancer? I bet you the numbers are a little disproportionate and probably not in the way you'd think. Because I guarantee you, more people are dying from cancer than are dying from guns in schools. Okay? So let's focus on the real problems in this country, okay? Let's focus on making sure that if somebody gets a terminal illness, they can actually enjoy what time they have left and not leave their family broken. Okay? Because their family's already broken because they're losing a loved one. And they know that it's going to happen, okay? Most people don't know when they're going to die. Okay? People with a terminal illness know that every single day could be it for them. So every day is a worry for them. So let's add to that, right? Let's add to that worry. Well, you know, the bills are overdue. You know, the mortgage hasn't been paid in 2 months. You know, the electricity's been turned off because you haven't paid the bill. Oh, and on top of that, all the medication that you need to make yourself comfortable and all the medical care that's necessary to manage and mitigate this illness, this disease, well, you can't afford any of it because you don't have health insurance. You know? And the other problem with that is that going to a hospital and getting a Tylenol costs a person $5,000 in this country. So let's talk about that for a minute. Why the hell is healthcare so goddamn expensive in this country? Well, I'll tell you why. You know why it's so goddamn expensive in this country? The prices have had to be raised because nobody can afford to pay their medical bills. Okay? So the hospitals have to eat that cost. All right? Because it spends years and years in collections and never really gets paid. Okay? So what happens? Well, the hospitals have to recoup that cost, right? So they raise the price of services to offset that. Prices that people already can't afford and aren't paying. This is why single-payer, socialized healthcare in this country is such a required thing. It's so needed. This is a national health crisis. If there was socialized healthcare, every United States citizen with permanent residency in this country gets free healthcare. And you know what happens? Suddenly the hospitals don't have an excuse anymore. Okay? Because the hospitals are getting paid. The system works. It's proven that it works. Japan has it. The United Kingdom has it. Yes, there are some downfalls to it, but the majority, 99% of cases, guess what? People get the care and the help that they need. This is another reason why guns are a problem in this country. It's not the guns, it's the mental health. And people can't afford mental health services because they need health insurance. See how it feeds itself? Why is a Twitch streamer the only one talking about this right now? Why is it up to a Twitch streamer to make that connection? You know? Make the connection in your head. Put 2 and 2 together. Most people can still do math in this country. Make the connection. Why aren't mental health services more readily available to those people that need it? Well, they can't afford it. Because a lot of people that need mental health services are homeless people. Well, geez, why are they homeless? Well, they probably got terminal stage 4 cancer and couldn't afford to pay their mortgage and they got kicked out. Maybe that's why they're homeless. Think about that. This is a self-regurgitating problem. The problem continues to feed itself because nobody has taken any action. When I say nobody, I mean our politicians, our Democrats and our Republicans, which have no clue how to run this country. The only thing they know how to do is serve themselves. Okay? This is not a, oh, well, you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. No, I'm neither, because both of them are fucking dumb. Okay? Both of them are fucking dumb. Alright? Diabolical Diabetic is a type 1 diabetic, if you couldn't tell by the name. And guess what? If she loses health insurance, she dies. Okay? Because insulin is so goddamn expensive. Who can afford that? Who can afford that? Nobody can afford insulin out of pocket unless you're Jeff Bezos. Okay? These are the same motherfuckers that should be helping fix the healthcare system in this country. Elon Musk wants to buy Twitter. How about Elon Musk does something like, hey, let's push for socialized healthcare in this country. Let's use your celebrity to get something done that fucking matters. I forgot to turn the mower deck on because I'm so pissed off. All right, let's do it again. You know, it used to be that doctors and police officers were like revered, they were revered professions in this country, right? Everyone looked up to doctors, everyone looked up to police officers because they were community minded, they wanted to help people. But nowadays we villainize these people because of problems that most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, they have no control over. Alright? Everyone hates the police now. Why? Because they shoot minorities. When in reality, most of the time it's justified. Because people have this entitled sense about them. They think that they're above the law and they can do whatever they want. So they argue. And that progresses to a point where the officer fears for their safety and they have to take action. This is again why mental health is so necessary in this country. Doctors are hated because it costs $5 grand just to get a band-aid from the hospital. Well, that's not the fault of the doctors because the doctors don't set the prices. Okay, it's the hospitals, these conglomerate medical corporations that own all the hospitals now. And the fact that we have billions of dollars in unpaid medical debt in this country because people simply can't afford to pay. Okay? I don't know a single person that intentionally goes out and gets sick or intentionally goes out and gets hurt. But they have to pay for that. Okay? They have to pay for that. Alright? People don't choose to get cancer. People don't choose to get diabetes. It happens. And these people shouldn't be held at fault for that. They shouldn't be penalized for the rest of their lives because they can't afford to pay into a system that is stacked against them. All right? I had a kidney stone. I also probably am dying. My throat is super dry, and I'm desperate for a drink right now, but I have nothing here. And it's because I'm doing all this talking. I had a kidney stone once, all right? That single kidney stone, the size of a grain of sand, cost me about $12,000 in medical debt. All right? It was $5,000 just for the MRI to see it. Just for the CT. $5,000 for someone to stick me in a machine that's already been paid for, by the way. All right? It's already been paid for because most of these hospitals finance these machines with deals with medical equipment companies in order to get their products out there. So this machine's already been paid for. All right? And they're charging me $5,000 just to be tested on it. And you wonder why people can't afford medical bills. All right? This is what is entirely wrong with this country. And the problem is when you don't pay your medical bills, it becomes collection debt. Collection debt hurts your credit score, which makes it impossible for you to get financing on things like automobiles and homes. Okay? Automobiles are a little bit easier to procure because the standards are slightly lower, but a home mortgage, you can't get approved for unless you have a 700 plus credit score. And in order to have a 700 plus credit score, you have to have no debt and no collections. All right? And that's the thing. You can't control that. Again, this is a system that is stacked against the average person. Unless you're a millionaire, billionaire, CEO or something, somebody with a lot of money to spend, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Most of my debt is credit card debt. That's debt that I've brought on myself. But I also have a great deal of medical debt that has eventually been written off. I literally, in all fairness, in all honesty, have never paid it. But it sits on my credit. It sits on my credit for 7 years before it falls off. And in that entire time, it hurts my credit score, which means I have to rent. I can't own a home. I simply can't afford to. Okay? Because all of my spare money, all my spare change is being spent on things like medications and food and gas and housing and bills and a car payment so that I can get to work. You know, this is the situation. This is the society that we've built ourselves as a nation. And I'm speaking strictly in the United States sense here. Anybody watching from overseas, this doesn't apply to you. This is all strictly a United States problem. Now, medical stuff, the cost of hospital services, that varies from country to country. But again, in most countries, in most industrialized nations, they have socialized healthcare. They have single-payer healthcare system. Medical insurance is not a thing. It's all government. It's all government provided. You know, the UK has the NHS. Japan has their national healthcare. Canada has their national health care. you know? But all this medical debt, it accumulates and it accumulates, and people with medical problems, chronic medical problems that require emergency care or frequent hospital visits, they're bankrupt. They're absolutely bankrupt because they can't afford to pay these bills. The hospitals still have to treat them in most cases, in some cases not. Because if you don't pay your bills, a lot of times a hospital practice will drop you unless it's required emergency care. But for regular procedures, you know, for diagnostic stuff, you can get rejected if you can't pay. I've been rejected. I have sleep apnea, and I couldn't afford to pay for a billing mistake that wasn't even my fault. And now I can't finish my sleep apnea diagnosis. And I have to wait until I get health insurance, go to another provider, and start all over again. Just because somebody double billed me for an appointment and I never paid it. And I disputed it. But they ignored it. This is why our country is the laughingstock of the world. And it's so disgusting to think that that this is acceptable. We have so many other issues in the world right now. I'm gonna move this barrel over here. Oh, don't fall over, come on. We have so many other issues in the world right now, okay? Real issues. Come on, why are you gonna keep falling over, man? It's like it's made of rubber or something. It just bounce, 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 bounce. You know, this is why we're the laughingstock of the world. You know, other nations don't have these problems in such degrees like we do. But all of our politicians, all they want to think about is what's the hot button item at the moment, okay? Lots of school shootings. Okay, so let's talk about banning guns. Let's talk about taking away constitutional rights. They never talk about adding constitutional rights, like the right to be able to live, right? Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about adding the 32nd Amendment or whatever we're up to now and saying, you know, citizens of this nation shall always be afforded the security of proper health care regardless of ability to pay, regardless of financial status. All citizens of this nation should be afforded adequate health care to meet their medical needs, free of charge, courtesy of the United States government. Does that mean taxes go up? Yeah, probably. But you know what? The people that are bitching about that are the people that can afford to pay it and don't want to. Those are the CEOs, the politicians, the company owners, businessmen, all these people that have more money than they could possibly spend in their lifetime, but they don't want you to have a penny. Because if you don't have money, that means they have more. And that is where our country is broken. There are also the people that don't want this to happen because they genuinely only want themselves to thrive. These are the people that we would typically refer to as Republicans, because they only care about themselves. They don't care about anything else in the world except for what they want, their views, and what they think is right. Because that means that the country is theirs, it belongs to them, that little piece of America. means that they own it and nobody else does. You can't have my health care because I had it first. And I'm not sharing. That's exactly the type of mindset that is so toxic to this country, and it dissolves the fabric of this country, of what this country was founded on. And I'm not talking about a group of white guys who owned slaves. I'm talking about the ideals that became the industrialized era, okay? About making this country truly great. And I'm not talking about the maggots out there, okay? I'm talking about actually making this country great, okay? I'm talking about when we built a rocket to put men on the moon, even though we didn't have to. We didn't have to. We didn't have to go to the moon. But Kennedy said, let's fucking do it. Why? Because it's fucking awesome. That's why. Did we have to beat the Russians to the moon? No. Who cares? It was a pride thing. That's why people cared. People took pride in the fact that our nation was the best. What's our nation now? It's a cesspool. It's disgusting. It's a big sewer. Why? Because our politicians have drained every bit of lifeblood from this country to make it their own little private playground. That's why I hate every politician. Every single one. Because not a single one will look you in the eye and tell you the truth. The only thing they will tell you is what you want to hear so that you'll put their name down on the ballot. And once they get into office, fuck you, man. I don't know you. Get out of here. That's why. That's why I hate politicians. That's why this country is so broken. Because politicians are never held accountable. Because it's a two-party system. And both parties are corrupt. From the very core. It doesn't matter if you're red or you're blue. Doesn't matter if you're Coke or Pepsi, baby. You're corrupt. Okay? Because we saw what happened with Trump in office, okay? We saw what happened with that fucking lunatic. It was a perfect example of this, the mindset of this country, where these people are literally indoctrinated into thinking that he is the Messiah. He is the greatest thing that could ever walk the planet. This orange bowling ball, okay? We have people that were willing to commit federal crimes, treason against our country, to attempt a coup to overthrow the government because he lost the election. That's how brainwashed these people are, okay? And then we have the other side. The side that I believe genuinely wants to do a little bit of good, but at the same time, they can't let it happen because then they'd be out of a job. All right? Because now we have a president in office who probably shouldn't even be allowed out of the house. All right? Neither one of our past two presidents could put a coherent sentence together in English. All right? And that's a little disturbing if you ask me, all right? The inability to speak a basic sentence. Okay? The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, okay? If the orange bowling ball were saying that, he would be like, there's a fox and a dog, and it's the best dog that you'll ever, it's incredible, it's the best dog ever. It's super, it's the best, and the fox is excellent too. It's the best fox you'll ever see in your life. Bigly. And then you've got the other guy who doesn't even know where he is. He's like, oh, we're at the zoo? Look, a cloud. Jesus Christ, people. It's fucking United States. Like, we used to be good at something. We're good at nothing now. We can't even fucking hire politicians. This is the best that we can do, folks. This is, to steal a page from George Carlin's book, bless his soul wherever he is in the world. This is the best we can do, folks. This is the best we can do. Every 4 years, that's the best we can do. Are you kidding me? We have scientists, we have doctors, we have philosophers, we have all of these people that actually have fucking brains in their head. They can't ever, none of them would ever hold the office of president. You know why? 2 reasons. 1, they're not rich. And 2, because a lot of them don't subscribe to either the Republican or the Democratic way of looking at things. They're kind of a little of this, a little of that, make up their own decisions instead of being brainwashed by a group of people that want to own this country. And if you're not a Republican or a Democrat in this country, you have no shot of ever holding political office at a federal level. No shot. Zero. When's the last time an independent president was elected? I can't think of it. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in political science, but I can tell you that as long as I've been alive, I don't think I've ever seen anything other than a Democrat or Republican as a president. Because they hold too much power. And the sad thing is when you get into a situation where you have no good candidates, like this last election, you have no good candidates. How many fucking names were on the ballot? In my area for presidential election, there were no fewer than 6 names on the ballot. Okay? And you know, you can't elect anything other than a Democrat or Republican because it's impossible. Because everyone thinks it has to either be one or the other. That looks really yummy. How's your nose hose? She has a nose hose. Oh, you're actually gonna show it off? She's just staring at me, pouting, holding my drink. There's her nose hose. Look at it. It's so cool. Oops, hold on. I gotta put the other thingy up here. There we go. It's come on, go away. There we go. Boom. Ha. Oh, now she's hiding it. Oh, there it is. Nose hose. Noses and hoses, right? She only has to wear it till tomorrow, so I guess that's a good thing. Doesn't mean it's any more enjoyable, though, I guess. Right? She doesn't want to talk. She's acting like it's made it so that she can't speak.
It hurts.
Noses and hoses. Oh, yeah, you are all sorts of blue. She also got jizzed on by a Smurf, so, I mean...
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that fits.
Rain hair.
Yeah, we did get fucking rained on this morning. That was awful.
Just gonna roll out.
All right, Guy Fieri. Fucking rolling out in your car with flames on the hood.
Mine are real flames, though.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna get you a KitchenAid with flames on it, just like Guy Fieri's. I just want to pull it. I just want to pull it right out.
It just moved.
Ew, it's kind of gross.
And I have like a constant stream of blood going down my throat from this thing.
It's kind of gross.
Oh.
Are you leaving now?
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Bye.
It was fun having you on the show. Thanks for visiting. Yeah. It's probably good, because if I get any more pissed off, I'm gonna just scream. You're watching one of our fish do what?
Poop.
Oh, that's kind of gross.
It's like the length of the body.
That is kind of gross. All right. Back to this. Actually, I want to do something first. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this here. Hold on, I'm going to shut this tractor down. Excuse me. All right. I want to do... this. Sure why it's not working. Give me a second here. Bear with me. Bear with me. There we go. All right, let me see if I can make this fit here. So I need to add a browser source. Okay. We're going to put that in there. And we'll go. Let's see if that works. So really, what I want to do is. Let's do 75. I could probably shorten that up a bit here. Let's do 500. All right, let me change this then. Let's do standard. That will change it. We'll do 100. We'll do. How's that sound? Yeah, that looks a lot better. All right, I don't know how this is going to look. So let's bring it in. All right, that's not so bad. Pardon me. Could lengthen it out a bit. Maybe I'll go to 800. I can make it a bit smaller. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. We'll do that. And actually, what I think I want to do is move it up here underneath. There we go. That's better. That's better. All right. I want to publicize this. I want to make this, even though I don't have any viewers, I want to try to make this happen. This is not a viewer grab for me. This is to genuinely help a friend who, through no fault of his own, has been screwed over by just about every possible system out there. So we're going to try to hit this goal. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep mowing. We're mowing for money, people. Alright. We're almost done mowing the small areas, and I can actually start to, like, pick those up. I am probably going to have to lease a windrower again, and the thing is I probably can't afford to lease one right now. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on my own to get this grass picked up. And then, hopefully I can use a windrower on the rest, just to speed up the process. I'd said before when I first started the game that after a while we go from 60 frames per second to 30. We're at about 40 right now, averaging when I'm moving. When I stop, it goes back up to 60. But there's definitely some sort of, like, memory leak in this game or something that's causing the frame rate to just progressively get worse the longer you play. And this was an issue with FS19 as well. I never really sensed this issue on FS17, but starting in FS19 I started to notice this happening. This tractor has to shift through like 12 gears before it even starts moving. All right. All right, we've got ourselves picked up here, most of the grass mowed. There's that one large area out there I'm not going to do right this second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab the pickup wagon and just start picking up until such a point as to when I can get a windrower to help make the rest of it easier. I wonder what Diabolical Diabetic is up to. She's suspiciously quiet in chat. She probably doesn't want to watch anymore now that I'm done with my political rant. Soup time, she says. What kind of soup? Having to eat like a toddler. I mean, could you be more specific? Oh, and you cleaned out the car? I appreciate that. I appreciate having a clean vehicle. That isn't full of crap. Chicken noodle soup, nice. The best kind of soup. Aside from miso soup, obviously. Would you consider ramen a soup? I guess I would. Yeah, ramen's a soup. Chew everything till it's mush. Well, I mean, chicken noodle soup is not known for its crunchiness. So, I mean, most soups are pretty mushy anyway, you know? Because, you know, you soak anything, especially, you know, noodles in broth for enough time, and they generally become pretty soft. Miso would be easier, but just close. We have miso soup in the cupboard, you know. The chicken, though. Yeah, but even the chicken is mushy. It's not crunchy. It's not like the chicken's got sharp edges. It's gonna, you know, cut your throat like a pirate. Oh, I picked up all that. I didn't have to go back and do all that. Not the same. I mean, really, though? Really? Not the same? Come on. Oh, the other thing I was thinking about buying, because remember we were talking the other day about things I want to buy for the house? You know, things we need, like a shelving unit or whatever. An electric kettle. That's one of the things that I want to get. An electric kettle, you know, to heat water in. Because, you know, we make all these ramen cups and we make all these soups and stuff. And, you know, what do? We put a mug of water in the microwave and we microwave it. That's not very efficient. We have a hot water kettle that we can basically boil hot water in immediately. And you can buy them for like 19 bucks at Walmart. So I want to add that to the list. Maybe that's something I'll get on Amazon if I can find one, you know, that isn't super expensive. Alright, I missed all of that chaff right there. Okay. Really wish I had a faster tractor. The warmth of this is heaven. I mean, soup is generally supposed to be warm. So at least you know you made it right. And that's the important thing. Well, just think, you've only got another 12 hours of having that in your face. Just another 12 hours, you know? You're halfway there. You've had it for 12 hours, and now you just need to go another 12 hours, and it will be all gone. Right? So look at it that way. You're over the hump now. You're headed downhill. You're just coasting along. You just got to get there. So just get there, you know? Nah, I don't think so, because it's gonna have all your juices on it, so it's gonna slide right out of there. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. They'll probably give you a little something to drink beforehand so that it comes out a little bit better. But remember, you got all that mucus, all that stuff that's gonna lubricate that on its way out. You'll be fine. And worst case, if they can't get it out, they'll just do what they do with fish. When you catch a fish and the fish swallows the hook, they'll just cut it off at the mouth and leave the rest in there. With a chunk of your brain. I mean, there's not many chunks of your brain to start with, so I mean, I think you'll be all right. I think you'll be all right. I think you'd be good. I think you'd be good. All right. I finished my thing. Finished my tweet. I'm gonna try to get serious about this donation goal here. Come on, Tracky, you can do it. You can do it. I need one of them big Lamborghini tractors that Jeremy Clarkson uses. Hey, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. How the heck are you? It has certainly been a while. I am doing well. I hope you are as well. Yeah, my tweets, when I tweet typically right as or right before I go live, but my streams are generally like 2 to 3 hours in length, so if you're seeing the tweet a few hours later, typically I've already ended stream for the day. I'm not like a long format streamer where I'll stream for like 8 hours at a time. But occasionally I'll have some like 4 or 5 hour streams if I'm really into something. But typically it's more like 2 to 3 hours. But it's nice that you dropped in. It's nice that you are following on Twitter. I appreciate that. I just posted a couple of tweets just moments ago, matter of fact, regarding a very, very important thing that is occurring. And as a result, I have a donation goal posted, and I posted a plea on Twitter to help try to get some folks to help out. So if you know anybody that might be able to contribute to that, you know, send them my way, please, because this is something that's super important. Gas prices are. They absolutely are. You are 100% correct about that. You are absolutely 100% correct about that. Also, I don't think I've ever seen you use the F-bomb in chat before. That's pretty impressive. Bravo to you on that. Heh, that's okay. She can catch my monumental rant, my monumental political and socio-economical rant on either the Twitch VOD or the YouTube rebroadcast of the stream once I post it after stream ends. It will be available for all to see, trust me. Yes, I had a somewhat moderate mental breakdown on stream tonight discussing the absolute disgusting state of our country, both politically and socio-economically. Oh, so you're actually working for Amazon. That's kind of cool. So we could actually kind of, in some ways, consider you an employee of Twitch. Because, you know, Amazon owns Twitch. I realize that you're probably not employed by Twitch directly. You probably work in what I would imagine is probably like a fulfillment center, like a warehouse. But I just like to make that joke because, you know, Amazon owns Twitch. They also apparently own Jeremy Clarkson, which is kind of funny, but yeah, you pack stuff at Amazon. So you probably are going to be packing the electric tea kettle that I will soon be ordering on Amazon. I don't want to pry too much, but if you don't mind, you actually did pack one today. It's kind of funny. If you don't mind, would you be able to like give us some sort of maybe like an insight into what it's like what it's really like to work there? Because we've all heard the stories, right? Like, is there some truth to that? Is there some credence to that? Or is it all bullshit? Is it like, no, it's actually a really good place to work, they actually really take care of us? Or is it like, no, everything you've heard is true? And obviously you don't have to, we don't know your real identity, so you're somewhat protected in the sense that, like, I don't think Jeff Bezos is gonna like fire you for talking about it. But if you don't feel comfortable discussing it, that's totally fine too. I understand. I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. Because I don't think I've ever talked to anybody that's actually worked there. The commercials make it sound great. I know, right? They give you time off, and it's such a nice place to work, and it's so awesome. But then you like actually talk to people and actually talk to, like, see it in the news media a lot, like, oh, you know, people are peeing in bottles because they don't allow you bathroom breaks, and like people are committing suicide because they're so stressed out, and you can't take time off because you'll get fired if you take like 1 hour off to go to a doctor's appointment. Emmy says, I'm totally fine with a job there. I just get bored often with standing a total of 6 hours when I work there. That's a long time to stand, but to be fair, there's plenty of jobs out there where you're expected to stand your entire shift, whether it be a 6-hour shift or an 8-hour shift, 10-hour shift, whatever. I used to work at a theme park, and I used to have to stand my entire shift. I wasn't allowed to sit down except for my lunch break. I wasn't allowed to sit down. I was constantly standing. I was constantly walking around. So that's not like totally out of the realm of you know, reasonable you know, work conditions. I think that's pretty cool though that you actually enjoy it. You get a 30-minute break, which is good. That's required by most states, a 30-minute unpaid lunch break. So that's fair. It sounds like they're following the law in that regard. And I realize that, like, you're one person, so, you know, this is your story, this is your experience, and other people may have different experiences, and that's fair. But it's good to hear somebody that I trust, that, you know, you are or were or, you know, will be again a regular visitor to the channel. So you're not, it's like some rando, you know what I mean? Actually giving us like a real first-hand account of what it's like, because, you know, there might be somebody watching, there might be somebody lurking that's like, wow, you know, maybe I'll go work for Amazon, but I've heard it's a really bad place to work. you know, we find out today that, oh, maybe it's not so bad. It was brutal your first few... sorry, I missed one. You get used to it. You've been working there since May 26, 2021. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Careful about... I'll caution you, careful about, like, certain details like that, because that could be used to identify you, and I don't want any negative things to come of that in case somebody were to, like, actually be able to identify you. Just considering your safety and all of that, so just be cautious with details like that. But I appreciate the info. And you're saying it was brutal the first few days of training since you weren't used to standing on your feet, and that's fair. A lot of people don't get exposed to that sort of thing. You sign up for the shifts you want to work. That actually sounds pretty cool, that you get to sign up for, like, the shifts that you want, that you're not, like, assigned to something rigid. Like, that's actually pretty cool. And I imagine because it's like it really is a 24-hour industry, like, people could work basically anytime they want. So that, like, I imagine there's probably a worker shortage even now, and so you basically get free pick of whatever you want, shift-wise. Pay is nice, $15.50 per hour. You're being paid $16 since you want to. So they give you a yearly raise. That's pretty good. Not a full-time worker. Yeah, so that makes sense. You probably work like 20 to 35 hours a week, which is good. And you're making decent money. I say decent money. That was decent money, you know, 10 or 15 years ago. Nowadays, that's close to minimum wage in some areas, but still, that is a respectable pay grade. That's not like, wow, you're working at a gas station making $11.75 an hour. That's a proper paycheck. That's awesome. I'm actually really happy for you. That's really cool. I always love to hear success stories like that, especially when it comes to employment. Employment is one of those things where we don't hear enough success stories. So it's great, you know? You only have to work 4 hours a week. Now, you said before you work a 6-hour shift, so do you just work one shift a week? Or do you work... Is that 4 hours, is that the minimum that you are able to work every week? Like, they won't allow you to work anything less than that. Bonuses for work, occasionally for holidays, time and a half. That's awesome. That's really good. That is in line with most companies in the United States today. I say most, not all, certainly not all, but it's good that they're treating you like a human being, because we've all heard, like I said before, we've all heard the stories about how certain companies that may or may not be the one that you work for treat people like, basically like animals. You know, they're like, oh, well, you know, we're not going to give you bathroom breaks, or, you know, all this stuff. So one day a week at minimum if I choose to. Just needed the minimum week. Yep, that's fair. That's fair. That's reasonable. That's good. Have to get another job because your Social Security insurance is going down because of your income, and the mortgage payment went up. Yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about before. There's a lot of benefits out there for workers. The problem is that a lot of these benefits, they're set up in a way that they penalize you for wanting to do better, right? So if you set yourself up for some type of supplemental income, like SSI or disability or whatever, you know, even food stamps or, you know, general assistance, as soon as you start to be successful again, they take that away from you. And while I don't think that's completely unfair, I will say that there are certain situations where, you know, your income may temporarily go up, but you're not out of the woods. You know, like, for instance, you have to be below a certain level, income level, to qualify for like food stamps and stuff like that. So as soon as you start to make more money, well, boom, they take it away from you. And most people would say, well, yeah, why would you want somebody making, you know, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 a year getting food stamps? And they're right. But at the same time, like, just because your income went up doesn't mean that you're necessarily, like I said before, necessarily out of the woods. You know, you may have had a temporary boost in income. You may have gotten a raise, but you're still catching up on, you know, past debt, trying to get things straight, trying to get caught up in your bills, things like that. So it's like some of these programs, some of these social programs meant to help people are actually just kind of dangling a carrot over their head, and not really fixing the problem. You know what I mean? State senators have introduced a bill to raise the asset limit for people on S side at $10,000. Mom is going to a regular job as well because she has to. So pay tuition for college, and that's important. You know, getting a college education. I have to say it's important, even though I don't honestly believe that having a college degree should be the basis for getting a job in this country. I believe that work ethic and motivation and attitude should be what you look for in an employee, and not a piece of paper that says, yes, they have paid an extortionate amount of money to an educational institution for the privilege of owning this piece of paper that says that they've done what we just talked about. It disgusts me that educational institutions are allowed to do this. You know, they charge people on average $50,000 or more to get an education, to get a piece of paper that says, yes, they have attended classes, they've passed all the tests, and now we are richer because of that. While at the same time, earthquake. Sorry, I was delayed. There's an earthquake right south of Hokkaido. Intensity of 3, large ground movement. And there was lots of shaking going on before, but I wasn't able to switch to the source fast enough because I'm kind of stupid like that. So we're seeing it grow right now. It's due east of Hakodate, right south of the main island of Hokkaido, and slowly expanding out. You'll see that there are some intensity measurements there, particularly up in this area. We have a 3 down here in Shizunai. There are other places that are reporting Kuriyama with an intensity of 2, Ebetsu 2, Atsuma 2. Lots of places. Even Ohata on the northern tip of Tohoku is reporting a 2. Shingo, Hachinohe just went down to a 1. Northern Kuji reporting a 2 intensity. So a little bit of a moderate earthquake, I would say, not a serious one. It's a 4.8 magnitude earthquake at a depth of 70K, but it's a max expected intensity of 3, which was reported in Hokkaido South. So that is on the lighter end of moderate shaking. So very interesting real-time earthquake data right here, courtesy of the JQuake app. We'll go back to regular programming, but yeah, I keep that running just in that for that potential that we'll catch something good. Plus, I'm planning on visiting Japan hopefully later this year or early next year. I just remembered I still have a sandwich over here I'm working on. Yes, you're right. They are prepared for earthquakes. And it is good that was not as good as that was not as big an earthquake as the one in 2011. We're just scooping up some of this grass over here that I'm not able to reach with the pickup. I'm going to read what you wrote here in just a second. Ride for Tokyo Disneyland was even removed to make sure Cinderella Castle was properly enforced for earthquakes. Those, because I watched a video from Defunctland about that. It was under the castle. Interesting. Interesting. I did not know that. Alright, we scooped up all of the stuff that I don't think I could reach with the loading wagon here. So now we're gonna just go back and try to pick up all this stuff. Also, what I want to do is dump this in front of me here. So what else have you been up to lately? Good to see you, like I said before, good to see you back in stream. I see you occasionally over on Mel's stream. In and out over there. I don't make it over there as much as I would like because when she streams is typically when I'm tied up doing other things, but I do try to make it over there occasionally, and I do see you there once in a while. Japanese TV anchors know when they have to switch the alert to public. Yep, that is it's all automatic over there. Actually, the same system that I use here on my stream is the same system that they use in Japan to detect earthquakes, and it automatically triggers the alert on TV. Mainly show up for Monday streams. Yep. Yep. I did not hear about that. That's terrible. Which one was it? Crazy. Crazy was not the black one, right? Or were they both black? Why can't I remember now? I think Ninja was the black one, wasn't it? That is sad news. I will have to pop into one of her streams. That is upsetting. There's been a lot of bad news lately, you know? Just a lot of bad news in the world. I got a lot of bad news just recently regarding a friend, which is why I'm doing the donation goal. A friend of mine that I worked with and talked to on occasion, he was diagnosed with terminal stage 4 brain cancer, so he's battling that right now, and you know, just a whole slew of just bad news lately. A lot of bad happening. So I'm trying to raise some money for him to help him and his family out. That's too bad. That is too bad. The pain of losing a loved pet is just awful. It's like losing a family member, and I've lost plenty of pets over my lifetime, which is part of the reason why I don't really have any pets now, because I just don't want to keep subjecting myself to that type of pain. But, you know, it just sucks. Whoops. I could have sworn I fixed this field. I thought... I don't remember that field having jagged edges. I'm pretty sure I fixed that last night. For some reason, it didn't take. Ah, I see. I see. Well, thanks for letting me know anyway. At least then I can reach out to Mel and offer my condolences. Yeah, there's nothing like a good Friday night stream end the week. A positive note, especially after, you know, what sounds like a week of really bad news. That's why I figured I'd stream tonight for a little bit. I've been live for 2.5 hours now. I'll probably be throwing in the towel here in the next half hour or so, but trying to stick to my 3 nights a week schedule. Thursdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, excuse me. I didn't stream last night because I was exhausted. Even though I did play Farming Simulator, and it's kind of a bad excuse because I played Farming Simulator for probably 6 hours yesterday. And I could have streamed if I wanted to, I just wasn't feeling up to it. And but I did decide today that I would stream just at the last minute. I was like, what the hell, I guess I'll stream. And it was a big deal because I had to go change my shirt. I was wearing a green shirt, and of course I can't wear green shirts on stream because they key out because of my green screen. So I had to go up and change into one of my streaming shirts, my Hawaiian shirts, a shirt from my Hawaiian shirt collection. And so yeah, here I am streaming. But it is getting increasingly warm in my studio, and the reason for this is I have to keep my studio door shut because Diabolical Diabetic is out in the living room watching TV, and the sound carries. My microphone is very sensitive, and it picks up everything. So if I don't shut the door, then you'll hear TV, and I'll get TOS'd and all this other stuff. So I had to close the door. Problem is, the air conditioning unit is out in the living room, so all that cold air doesn't get in my studio, and the lights make it very warm in here. So it quickly gets very hot in here, which is another reason why I think my streams are usually around the 2 to 3 hour mark, is because anything longer than that, it just gets too damn hot in here. So my son is doing okay. He is still having a lot of trouble managing his ADHD and his autism, but he's you know, he's still my boy. He's still a good kid. It's just, it's a struggle a lot of the time. Yes, my son was diagnosed with ADHD. And we suspect, although he's not been diagnosed, we suspect that he has a high-functioning autism. Because he's a very bright boy. He's very smart. Sometimes too smart. But sometimes he acts in such a way that makes me concerned for his mental health. Like, it makes me believe that he maybe doesn't know what he's doing, or he isn't aware of what he's doing, or that he blacks out and reacts in such a way that is normally very violent or very unusual. But then an hour later, he can be perfectly fine. So I don't know if it's a little bit of bipolar disorder mixed with autism, mixed with ADHD. It's very, like, there's a label for everything nowadays. Like, I'm sure that if somebody scratches their ass in a certain way, there's a medical diagnosis for that. Like, you know, right ass cheek scratchiosis or something, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, so trying to, like, still with that girl you got with after your wife left you. Yes, Diabolical Diabetic is that girl. Yes, we've been together now for going on, what, 3 years? So, yes. Things are successful in my life, to some degree. But, yeah. The stuff with my son is still a struggle every day. He was supposed to be here tonight. He was supposed to make an appearance tonight, but lately he's been having trouble coming over. He's been having trouble finding the motivation to come over. I think mainly because he, well, I couldn't really pinpoint it, but I think he just thinks that he gets more benefits being at home with mom than he does here, to some degree. And because of that, I think he chooses to manipulate and say, well, I don't want to go to dad's tonight. because dad won't let me play video games all night like mom will, or he is 9. He is 9 years old. But he acts like he's 45. Yeah, he acts like he's 45. He acts like he knows everything and is the king of the world, and you know, so basically like a Republican. He acts like a Republican. And he screams and cries and whines when he doesn't get his own way, like a Democrat. So really, I don't know what to make of him. But he's still a good kid, damn it. He's still a good kid. He's just misguided. He's heavily misguided by his own illusions of what he thinks the world should be. And it's just too stinking bad, because he's really a good kid. I just realized my tractor is almost out of fuel. And I'll tell you something right now, if I don't get this thing to the gas station and get refueled, then I will be in trouble, because I don't have a gas tanker that I can pull behind truck. So once I pick up this last little bit here, we're gonna go run this tractor up to the gas station. I know, right? I don't know what the gas price is in this game, but I know it's cheaper than real life. I know that, I think somebody told me, maybe it was Diabolical Diabetic, told me that that beer is now cheaper than gasoline. I don't drink beer, but if cars would run on it, Jesus Christ, sign me up. Alright, let's dump this last load here to get a few more extra bucks, and then we'll go refuel this tractor. Your mother and you are going to be working at jobs we can walk to save gas, only use it when doing groceries. Yep, that is reasonable. And well, I mean, I say it's reasonable, but it's not. It's actually terrible. It's actually terrible that we have to change our way of life, that we have to change simple basic necessities like jobs, changing our careers simply because we can no longer afford to buy gas because gas is so expensive. And not to get back into the politics thing that I was harping on earlier today, but I mean, there's got to be a breaking point, okay? And let's identify what that breaking point is, okay? Because I certainly don't want to spend $5 a gallon in gas. I don't want to spend $4 or even $3. $2, a dollar, something like that. Perfectly reasonable and perfectly attainable for the United States fuel market, for the United States energy market. to sell gasoline for between $1 and $2 a gallon, or between, let's just say between $1 and $3 a gallon. That way you have the 250, 260 range as well. Why can't we make this happen as a nation? There are so many other things that we are subsidizing in this country, like weapons for other countries, like foreign aid, like all this other stuff that's just, we're sending all this cash outside of our country when we have multiple crises in this country that are left ignored. Like the healthcare issue that I talked about earlier, like the mental health issues that I talked about earlier. All of this stuff that we took for granted, all of this stuff that is a basic human need, like the ability to get to our jobs so that we can pay to put gas in our cars so we can go to our jobs, you know? It's a never-ending cycle. And every time society finds a way to get a little bit ahead, something changes in society that takes it all away from us again. It's the same with my personal finances. No matter how much, no matter what I do, I still can't seem to get ahead when it comes to money, okay? I'm making more money now at my current job than I've ever made before in my life, okay? 25 bucks an hour is what I make. That's $52,000 a year, okay? $1,000 a week for a 40-hour week, all right? And I can't seem to get ahead because every time I make more money, the price of everything else goes up. 4 months ago, gas was like $2.50 a gallon. It is now doubled in price. So all of that money that I would be saving because I'm making more money now is now being spent on the same stuff that I was buying before, but at a different price. Now I'm buying a smaller thing of chicken for the same price. Now I'm buying a smaller bottle of Gatorade for the same price. All this stuff that I used to buy that was a specific size is now more expensive for the same amount or more expensive for less. Sometimes you're paying more money for less product because of shrinkflation, this stupid word that they've come up with to describe how bad we're being fucked in the ass by corporate America. Okay? My asshole is bleeding from the pounding that it has taken from all of these corporations. Oh, Joe Schmo just got a raise at work? Well, we better raise his grocery bill 50% so that he can't see any of those profits, because God forbid we're going to let any Americans put any money in the bank. Okay? The only ones who are allowed to have money in the bank in this country are corporate officers, CEOs, CFOs, COOs, anyone with a goddamn C and a 3-letter title before their name. Oil companies are having record profits. Exactly. Exactly. It's stupid. It's just incredibly stupid. How much money did we spend on gas there? Let me see. We just spent $425 filling this tractor up, which is actually pretty damn low because that tractor probably holds 50 to 100 gallons of fuel at $5 a gallon. That would be a lot more. But yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, You know, my pay has gone up. I've managed to get better jobs that pay me better. But every time I do that, and get a better job that pays me more money, the price of everything goes up. So it's for nothing. Yeah, of course the Republicans did. You know why? Because all the Republicans are stockholders in major energy companies. Yep. Yep, I forgot about the baby formula crisis because I don't have a dog in that fight, but yeah, that was a thing too. Mothers couldn't get baby formula because there was a plant that had shut down. Apparently, the only plant in the United States that fucking makes baby formula shut down. Now let's not talk about the fact that that's its own problem. You know, the fact that one fucking factory shuts down and suddenly the entirety of the United States no longer has access to baby formula. Are you kidding me? Like, did nobody ever plan this out and say, well, Bob, maybe we should have more than one baby formula plant in the United States? What are you talking about, Tim? That's ridiculous. Why would we ever need more than one? Fucking stupid. Absolutely just asinine. I pray. I'm not a religious person. Okay? Because I try to stay away from fiction. But I pray every single day that the people that are directly responsible for fucking this country up just absolutely have every bit of bad luck executed upon themselves as humanly possible. Oh, you know, just the typical shithole state of our country again. You know, if you watched my stream more, Diabolical Diabetic, you'd actually you wouldn't miss all the good stuff. You know, I know that the farming is boring as hell, but occasionally I do have some pretty entertaining things to say. But I'm sure Glee is more important. Actually, it's probably a good thing you weren't here because we're all bashing Republicans right now, so. So from all of us here at Stormforce Games, I would like to send a resounding thank you to all the Republicans out there for absolutely butt-fucking our country. I hope you enjoy what's left over. Phone is gonna die soon. You know, they make these things called chargers. And you can actually, believe it or not, you can actually put battery power back into the phone if you use one of these charging things. I think they call it a phone charging cable. And it actually allows you to make that battery go back to 100%. It's like getting a whole new battery. Oh yeah, Democrats have their own issues too. I pulled no punches with both sides earlier in the stream because both are equally as useless as the other. Both parties are equally as useless as the other, and that is part of the issue in this country, is that people have been so brainwashed into believing that the only acceptable form of government is one of those two parties and none other than those two parties. In order to be president in the United States of America, you have to be a member of one of the two secret cults, either Democrats or Republicans, and it doesn't matter which one you're a member of because both of them can become president. But neither one of them have any interest in fixing this country. Both do have all interests in making their pockets as cash-filled as possible and trying to accumulate as much power as possible. This is truly a real game, a real-life game of Risk. A real-life game of Risk, where it is all about how much land you own, how much money you have, and how powerful you are. It has no bearing on making this country any better. Only that you are in control of something. And the proof of that is, some people will say, you know, some people who are Republican will say, well, you know, it's the Democrats' fault. And people that are Democrat will say, well, it's the Republicans' fault. And they're both right, and they're both wrong. They're both right in that the other side is the problem. But they're both wrong in thinking that they themselves are not also the problem. And that's the most irritating thing, is that they're so busy pointing fingers at someone else that they aren't able to look at their own issues. Part of the proof of this is, look at the Republican side, okay? You have Liz Cheney, daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, okay? And she's a Republican. But she has been so outspoken against what the orange bowling ball did the last 4 years and all this stuff, that other people of her own party are attacking her and trying to get her thrown out of government. And that in itself is proof that the system is messed up, okay? That it's a self-serving system. Because imagine being such a staunch Republican that you will attack a fellow Republican for thinking differently than you do, for wanting to actually fix the country. And I'm not saying Liz Cheney's going to fix the country, okay? But the fact that she has spoken out against the orange bowling ball is the only thing that she needs to do to be attacked by members of her own political party. And that alone is proof that the system is broken. Okay? Because if you're a member of the cult, whether it be the red cult or the blue cult, doesn't matter whether you're Coke or Pepsi, if you don't subscribe to the agenda, you don't subscribe to the mantra, you don't subscribe to all of this secret society shit that they got going on, they will throw you out and they will eat you alive. And that is just proof that it's a self-serving system and it's not made to help the United States citizen. That it's not meant to help the average American like you, like me, like Diabolical, like anyone else. It's not meant to help us. It's meant to keep us from fixing things. Because if things are broken, then it keeps them in power. Okay? If the system were fixed and everything were perfect, we'd have no need for government. It would be a self-running society. It would run itself. It would be self-sustaining, self-supporting. It would be fixed. Everything would be great. There wouldn't be any problems. There wouldn't be any crime. There wouldn't be any drama. It would be everybody living their best lives, happy as they could possibly be. But we have this little thing called government. And in order to be in government, you have to be powerful and you have to be rich. And if you're not powerful and rich, you have no chance. And if you are powerful and rich, you have to either subscribe to either the red or the blue side. Because if you don't have a chance. And once you're in one of those secret clubs, you either play by their rules and you think the way they do and you become a lemming, or they eat you alive. The red guys don't want to help. The blue guys don't want to help. They all act like they do, okay? Because every 4 years when it's election time, they all want to be your best friend, right? What can I do to gain your vote? Let me shake your hand. Let me kiss your babies. What can I do to fix and get your vote? I want your vote at the polls. Help me fix the country. Get me a vote. And then when they get in office, I don't even know you, man. What you talking about? I don't know you. Don't act like you know me. I didn't make you no promise. Don't know. Nuh-uh. Homie, don't play that game. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Gerald Ford, he was the one that invented cars, right? That's like a meme that's going around right now. Everyone thinks Gerald Ford was the guy that created the car. When really they're thinking of Henry Ford, and he didn't even invent the car. He just made one. Oh, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, a president that I really admire, I won't say admire, but a president that I think was pretty good. There are a couple. I think Obama did a pretty good job. Based on the fact, and I'll tell you why, because everyone's going to say, oh, Obama. But listen, okay? The reason I think Obama did a pretty good job is because he managed to get through his entire 2 terms of presidency, 2 terms, without a single fucking scandal, okay? No grab him by the pussy scandal, no fucking extra women on the side scandal, no sex scandal, no nothing. Aside from the tan suit. Okay, I'll give you the tan suit. I get it. All right. The tan suit will live on in infamy as being the worst wardrobe choice ever in the history of United States politics. I get that. But for for things that actually matter, okay? We're talking no sex scandals, nothing. Nothing. The man is like Teflon. Nothing sticks to him. He managed to skate through his entire 8 years of presidency with nothing. Okay? While at the same time, getting Osama bin Laden, getting a country out from a huge recession, incorporating some type of effort to help normal Americans get health care. It didn't turn out the way it should have, but the effort was there. So that's one guy. That's one guy that I kind of looked up to and thought was a decent president. The other guy is going to be kind of a surprise to some people, okay? The other guy is going to be Bill Clinton. Yeah, I know, him. Let me explain why, okay? Let me explain why. I'm going to explain why I think Bill Clinton was a good president, okay? He, for the first time since I believe it was Reagan, created a budget surplus for the federal budget, okay? That's important. That means that 1 year, at least 1 year during his presidency, the national debt did not increase. That's huge, okay? That's huge because I don't know. All I can say is that's super huge. So, created the budget surplus for the first time in, I think, 20 years or something, since the Reagan administration, or maybe even before that. Yes, he had the huge scandal with the Monica Lewinsky scandal, where he was getting blowjobs in the Oval Office from Monica Lewinsky or something like that. I mean, hey, you know something? In the grand scheme of things, if a guy getting sucked off in the Oval Office is going to create this much drama in the world, give me a break, okay? There are bigger issues in the world to worry about than some guy getting his rocks off in some intern's mouth, okay? I've read the report. I've read the investigation report. I've read all this stuff. It was consensual on both sides, okay? So where's the scandal here? The fact that it occurred in the Oval Office, oh my God. Imagine all the shit that's happened in the Oval Office in the course of American history that hasn't made it to public light, okay? John F. Kennedy, just by himself, okay? Look at all the scandal there with Marilyn Monroe and all the other, like, I can only imagine Trump, okay? I can tell you right now that the orange bowling ball has left some of his Cheetos stains on the carpet, if you know what I mean, okay? Just saying. Because this is what I think is crazy, okay? I don't want to get too deep into this because it's gonna, it could potentially be bad on Twitch, but let's just look at the Bill Cosby situation, okay? And I'm gonna preface this by saying that I don't condone what Bill Cosby has been accused of. And if in fact he is guilty of committing those acts, I think that he should be held accountable. And he was jailed for a long time. But look at this situation, okay? We have a man who has, for the most part, denied a lot of the allegations against him, and he's still ended up in jail, okay? For 4 or 5 years or something like that, I forget. So let's look at that. Just the shell of this. I don't want to get into great detail because, yes, is he probably guilty? Yeah, probably. And he should be held accountable. But let's look at the situation, okay? A lot of what he was accused of, he denied, okay? And then we have the orange bowling ball, who has openly admitted to sexually assaulting women and sexually harassing women. He's openly admitted to it, and he has not seen the inside of a jail cell once. All I'm saying is that the system is fucked up, okay? Just look at that situation. Compare the two, okay? We have one man who, yes, he's probably guilty, but he's denied a lot of it, okay? He hasn't denied everything. He's admitted some stuff, but he's denied some of it. And he's still ended up in jail. And then you have this other guy who, again, seems to be made of Teflon. Nothing can stick to him. Nobody can pin a charge to him. And he's openly admitted to committing these acts and been proud of it. Not just admitted it, but being proud of it. Like it's a badge of honor, like it's a trophy that he can show somebody and say, look, I won first place at the groping competition. No jail time. That's how messed up this country is. So think about that, okay? And again, I'm not condoning any of these acts. I don't want to make it sound like I'm defending somebody over someone else. That's not the case. If somebody does the crime, they should absolutely rot in jail. I'm just saying, look at the comparison between the two and look at how each situation was handled, okay? We have somebody, a musical legend like Michael Jackson, who was accosted for the majority of his adult life, accused of being a child molester, okay? Everybody and their brother stepped forward and said, yeah, he did it. He vigorously denied all of these claims, even though he was admittedly very eccentric and very unusual. A lot of people banded together, and I don't want to... let me just say, I don't want to make it sound like these people are lying. I don't want to discredit their accusations. But what I'm saying is that for his entire life, he fought these accusations, he denied them, and eventually died and went to the grave being labeled a child molester. And his reputation has been forever tarnished by these accusations that were never proven. And that's That's the key in the United States legal system, is that you need to be proven guilty. You need to be convicted in a court of law in front of a jury of your peers to be considered guilty as charged in this country. He was never charged with any crime or any illegal act regarding sexual abuse or any of that stuff. Okay? And yet, he carried with him to the grave a stigma so severe it affected his entire life. It affected who he was, how people viewed him, what people thought of him, everything. It ruined his life. And I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm not saying that he's guilty. I'm saying that he was not proven guilty in a court of law. And that is maybe some of the fault of the prosecutor or Michael Jackson's attorney for not being able to prove the case one way or another definitively. I guess in some ways they proved definitively that he was innocent because he was not proven guilty. But lack of evidence doesn't necessarily make a person innocent, if you know what I mean. So it's a struggle in this country because you have all these accusations that are flying around. I don't even want to touch the Johnny Depp situation because that was just a circus spectacle of absolutely stupid shit that should never have been put into public view. But to be fair, really none of this stuff should be put into public view either. These are people's private lives. You know, granted they are public icons, but at the same time, they have a right to not have every little bit of their life examined by the general public, because every goddamn person, myself included, thinks that they're a goddamn detective. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I'm a fan of his music. And I think in some ways I'm a fan of the person that he was trying to be, the person that he wanted to be, because you're right, he lost his entire childhood. He was a working child. He worked. He was a talented musician, a talented musical artist, a talented singer and dancer, a talented entertainer. And because of his gift, he lost out on just being a regular person. So trying to make up for that later in life is important. Like, even I try to do that to some degree. You know, like, I grew up my entire childhood. I never got to go to Disney World. I never, like, my family couldn't really afford to, like, do that stuff. So as an adult, I got to go to Disney World for the very first time as an adult. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I finally get to be a kid again, you know? Like, even when I go to Disney World now, it's like, this is 5 or 7 days or 10 days where I can just sit here and I can just act like a child. Not like a child in the sense that I'm, like, entitled and like a Karen, but like a child in the sense that, like, wow, this is all so amazing. I want to experience it like I would experience it if I were, like, 8 years old or 9 years old. So I think that's important. That is vitally important in people's lives, to be able to have a proper childhood, to be able to grow up normally. And child stars don't really get to do that. They're under the microscope all the time. They got cameras pointed at them. Nowadays is even worse because you have social media and everybody's got a camera in their hands, a video camera nonetheless, so people can record things and take them out of context, and suddenly a simple thing becomes this massive court battle, you know? It's just a struggle. I'm just exhausted from talking about this, honestly. I think it's just so stupid. So yeah, anyway, my point is, for this whole stream, even though I've been farming for a lot of it and bitching the rest, our country is broken. Help us fix it. My friend is battling stage 4 brain cancer. It is terminal. Please help him if you can. Donation link is down in the panel. you can put a Streamlabs donation through. I would prefer not to get donations via bits because Twitch holds on to those until I get $100 worth of bits, and then I can't really properly distribute it to him when he needs it. But cash donations via Streamlabs would be preferred, and I can help him ease the burden of suffering through a terrible, terrible disease. We are going to wrap things up for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Emmy, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you hanging out in the chat. Thank you for coming in. I hope you're able to make it back on a regular basis. It would be good to see you back here, on, like I said, on a regular basis. Let me take a look on Twitch and see if there are any of our stream friends live right now that we can send you to. It would appear to me that we have the fantastic Officer Dan streaming right now. So we are actually going to do a raid. And if you would not mind helping me out, hashtag Storm Raid in the chat, folks. Hashtag Storm Raid in the chat. We're going to go see Officer Dan. He is playing something. I don't know what he's playing, but he's playing something. I'm looking for my raid button. There's my raid button. There's Soda Wave Live. We're going to start the raid. I'm talking like Tommy Lee Jones. Don't even know why. So we are going to head on over to Soda Wave Live. Say hi to Officer Dan. You know the drill. Hashtag Storm Raid. Let him know I sent you. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's been fun. We will see you next time. And don't forget, VOD replays on YouTube. That is super important because if you missed anything, you'll be able to catch up on it on YouTube coming in just a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. And stay tuned to Twitch and the Discord for more information. Remember that donation goal. It would be super helpful, and I would appreciate it. I will also match all donations up to the first $500 of the goal, so put me on the hook for it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Good night.